Mercedes is up for a season of make or break. After 2 miserable seasons, all eyes are set on the Silver Arrows. Returning to the top step of the podium and the championship is the only goal. And to do this, Mercedes will start the season with a completely redesigned car. And Toto Wolff has just revealed the first results from the simulator. But first, Mercedes have just announced that Toto Wolff is staying for 3 more years after extending his contract. This all whilst Wolff is under pressure after spending the last several seasons taking on Red Bull's exhaust fumes. Even 8 Constructors' Championships in 8 seasons from 2014 to 2021, not to mention 7 Driver Championships, would not protect you from criticism. And, towards the end of last year, after the Mercedes team principal lost his cool with reporters during a press conference in Las Vegas, then became embroiled in a furious row with the governing body, the FIA, over quickly dropped allegations that his wife, who works for Formula One, may have passed confidential material to him. Some speculated that the pressure was revealing. Wolff doesn't even need the bother any longer. So why was he still fully committed? Wolff, who owns a third of Mercedes F1, has long been rumoured to walk aside as team principal. He even went so far that the Austrian has acknowledged to having those ideas, particularly during COVID, when he was experiencing an existential crisis. Others believe Wolff still wants the post of Formula One CEO, which he briefly discussed with Liberty Media CEO Greg Maffei before Stefano Domenicali took over. Wolff, on the other hand, has some bad news for his detractors. He's not going anywhere. In fact, he declares straight at the outset of a wide-ranging interview from his house in Monaco that he has just signed a new 3-year contract to remain on as team principal and chief executive of Mercedes F1, which will take him until the conclusion of the 2026 season, the first season under the new set of regulations. Wolff's logic is straightforward. He still believes he is the best man for the job. Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ola Kalenius, representing other co-owners Ineos and Mercedes-Benz, he believes, are equally essential. I think the most important thing between the 3 of us is that we trust each other, Wolff says of how talks over his role progressed. At the end of the day, as a shareholder myself, I want the best return on investment. And the best return on investment is winning. I'm not going to try to hang on to a position that I think somebody is going to do better than me. I make sure that I have people around who can tell me otherwise. In the end, the 3 of us decided, let's do it again. Without a doubt, last year ended on a sour note. When discussing the FIA's cancelled investigation into a possible conflict of interest in the Wolff household, the Austrian chooses his words carefully. He is clearly still enraged about it. But he says he is in a good place moving into 2024 and is completely committed to winning again. No performance clauses either to make him more committed. I've never had a performance clause. You either trust each other or you don't. And we are aligned as shareholders, he said. And there are no plans to exit Mercedes, either now or in the future either. I'm part of this team in various functions, he says. I'm a co-shareholder. I'm on the board. These are things which will not change whatever executive or non-executive role I have. But I feel good. The risk for me is always more bore out than burnout. And that's why I embrace the challenges we have today, even though they sometimes feel very, very difficult to manage. Wolff has compared the task of overwinning Red Bull this year to climbing Mount Everest, which feels like an understatement. But after getting it horribly wrong in 2022, doubling down with dismal results in 2023, only to acknowledge halfway that a dramatic redesign was necessary, Wolff is optimistic that Mercedes will be more competitive in 2024. Just before the interview, Wolff was in conversation with one of his simulator drivers, Ant Davidson, who was beyond happy with how the new car was performing in the sim. He was driving Melbourne in the sim, Wolff reports, and he said, "The car feels like a car for the first time in 2 years. Obviously, I would love this to correlate to the track, but we've seen in the last 2 years that this was not always the case," he adds hastily. Still, Mercedes supporters are hoping for a stronger season this year. Wolff is pleased with the engineering reshuffle last year, which saw the mega James Allison replace Mike Elliott as technical director. He is pleased with Mercedes strategy team's post-James Vowles adaptation. And he emphasises that he expects his team to be much sharper at pit stops this year, having invested more resources in areas such as wheel locking systems and axle materials. "I think the regulations, how they were laid out a few years ago, we interpreted them in a very conservative way," he said. Thus, Mercedes is making big changes in other areas, including pit stops, after witnessing Red Bull and McLaren steal a march on the field with their lightning-fast processes. with Wolff stating that the Brackley outfit's stops will be very different this year. And we've seen other teams doing it differently, so watch this space. I think it's going to be very different. Most importantly, Wolff is pleased with his driver lineup. George Russell had a more difficult second season at Brackley, but Wolff believes the 25-year-old has completely met the team's expectations. "George is our future," he insists. "And you know, when I look at all the young men of the current Formula One drivers, he's the one I would want to have in a car." When asked if Lewis Hamilton at 39 can still win his 7th world title, Wolff does not hesitate for air. "The answer is clearly yes in capital letters," he said. "There is a reason Lewis is a 7-time world champion and has broken all the records. His ability is on a different level. If we are able to give him a car that he actually feels, that drives in a way that he can trust, he will be on the level that's needed to win the championship." 39 is no age. The next significant regulatory change will not occur until 2026, and, like Wolff, Hamilton may have to sign another contract that extends beyond his current 2-year term if he wants to win his 8th championship. However, Wolff would not rule out doing it sooner. "Always believe it's possible," he says of whether Mercedes could actually scale Everest this year. "You cannot start the season with an attitude of 'this is not going to be possible.' We saw last year with McLaren what a huge step they made with a single upgrade. We've signed a 2-year deal with Lewis, and we owe it to him, to George, and to all the team to give it our full attention in 2024 and 2025. I think it's possible." Will they be able to recover from the 2 underwhelming seasons? And are the simulator results a good sign for them? Could they have really figured it out this time? Share your thoughts on Mercedes' changes in the comments down below. If you think this was the most revealing part of the interview, you're wrong, as Toto has finally fully responded to everything that has happened with him and the FIA last month. In the interview, Toto Wolff has expressed reservations about the FIA's leadership, claiming that the organisation requires more stability and better transparency. Wolff also questioned why so many senior FIA staffers were abruptly quitting. The FIA sparked outrage last month when it stated that it had launched an inquiry based on media speculation about an allegation of confidential information being passed to an F1 team principal from a member of FOM personnel. It did not say who it was referring to, although certain outlets were apparently advised before the FIA's statement that it was referring to Toto and Susie Wolff. The FIA also informed media outlets that other teams had expressed concerns. The investigation was terminated when all 9 of Mercedes' competitors delivered identically written comments rejecting any formal complaint. Mercedes has threatened legal action, which is still a possibility, but Wolff claims the harm has already been done. "I think because we have 1 billion people or more that watch our sport, we are role models," he said, "and we need to be wary of the impact of what we do and what we say. What has been said, and the way it was done, was very, very damaging." Wolff will not comment directly on any potential legal or other action. He also refused to explicitly condemn FIA President Mohammed Ben Sulayem. He did, however, raise concerns about the FIA's overall status, calling the recent exits of Sports Director Steve Nielsen, Single-Seater Technical Director Tim Goss, and the head of the FIA's Commission for Women, Deborah Mayer, concerning. "It's concerning to see so many good people leaving," Wolff remarked in an interview. "Losing Steve Nielsen is a big blow. I couldn't think of a more knowledgeable and fair sporting director. As a leader, it's about the culture and environment you create for people to thrive. When people as competent as these leave an organisation, there is a vacuum. That's clear. And you've got to ask yourself, why is it suddenly that so many people have decided to call it a day?" Ben Sulayem, who was elected in 2021, has been embroiled in several scandals throughout his 2-year reign. Wolff added, "What the FIA needs is stability. The FIA is one of 3 key stakeholders of the sport, along with FOM and the teams. And as the leadership of these organisations, we need to set the tone for everybody else. We need not only to say that we're acting transparently and ethically, but actually to live to that standard every single day." What do you think? Is the current setup at the FIA good enough? Or are they just creating chaos amongst F1? And what about those rumours of F1 breaking away from the FIA and starting their independent race series? Would this be a good solution? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below.